cactus and succulent growers, I'm Lynn and welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon in the north of Ireland. And in today's video, we're talking about how much water that you should give your cactus after the winter rest. Now I wanted to do this video because I've had quite a few people say to me, Lynn, I'm going to be starting watering my cacti soon. How much water shall I give them? Shall I go ahead and give a deep watering or a light watering? And I thought this is the perfect time to do a video about it. And although I don't water practically all of these cacti here until the middle of April time, I do have a cactus, one of my mammillarias, that is very shriveled and does need to be watered today. So I'm going to show you a demonstration on how much water I give to them to start them up first of all after the winter rest. Now I just want to mention before I show you the demonstration that I actually do start all of my cacti up. As I say, it's not till April for me, but if you're living in a climate where it's sort of a desert environment, it's warm temperatures, or you have your cacti indoors, then it is spring now and you can go ahead and water your cacti. The reason why I'm holding back is because I have these outdoors in my polytunnel, and although I have a heater, it's only set at 5 Celsius, and April can be pretty cold as well, as can the rest of March. So to be on the safe side, I hold back, I should say, from watering mine until the middle of April, except for this one I'm going to show you because it's absolutely desperate to be watered, so perfect example. And I start them all up with what I call a pre-watering. And that is, I start them up with a very, very, very light watering, just to moisten the soil. And there's two reasons why it's good to do that rather than go ahead and give them a deep watering to start them off with. Cactus roots have been totally dry over the winter for many months, and cactus roots have evolved to go without water for many months. However, they do, like a lot of plants, when they sense moisture, their roots send out these little these little hairs on their roots, little feeder hairs that senses the moisture and takes up the water. Because the roots have been dry for so long, if I go ahead and give a big heavy watering with a cacti for the first time after many months, then it's possible that they won't take up water so quickly, and you can sometimes roots can sometimes die off and die back if you go ahead and water after being dry for so long. So I prefer to give a bit of a pre-watering, and that's because the roots then will sense there's moisture in the soil without being wet soil. So there'll be a little bit of moisture and they'll start to send out these little feeder hairs. And then I leave it about a week, and then I'll go ahead and give them their proper first watering, and by proper I mean a proper deep watering. Also, I find from my own experience, if I've gone ahead and given them a big deep watering for the first time after the winter, it's not unusual for cactus plants to take up water a little bit too fast and they can split open. I've experienced this with my Lophophoras in the past, where I've given them their first deep watering after the winter. I think, I'm going to give them a good watering now. They're very shriveled, and then they will burst. They're sometimes split open. Now this isn't caused from that, but this is an example of what it looks like, and it's something that can look unsightly. The cactus won't die. Often the split will heal over and form a callus, but it can be unsightly. So I prefer just to start them all off with a very light watering, just enough to moisture the soil. Leave it another week or two, and then I go ahead and give them the proper watering. So when I start all these up in April, I'm going to start them up with a very light watering, and I'll film a video when I water all of these for the first time after winter. Then after a week or two, when I give them their first proper watering, I'll add a wee bit of tomato feed in the mixture to encourage the blooms, and that's just something that I like to do. So then I'm going to now go and show you a demonstration of just how much water that I actually do start them up with, because I have one cactus here that does need just to have a wee bit of water, and perfect example to show you. So then guys, I've got my little long handled nozzle, and this is how little I give the water for the first watering. And that is it. And that's what I do with all of these when I start them up with the watering for the very first time after the winter, which will be probably the second week in April. So do stay tuned for a video when I water all these, pre-watering for the very first time after winter. Now what I'm going to be doing, obviously I then wait about a week, 2 weeks possibly, until this will dry, no problem. As I say, it's a very light pre-watering here. But the reason why I like to leave it a week or two before I give it its first proper watering again is because, as I mentioned, the roots, the master root, the main roots, do need to send out the little root hairs again. It's almost like giving it a bit of a pre-water gives them a little knock on the door to help wake them up, as you can say. Knock knock, who's there? They wake up for spring. And as I say, I don't want to go ahead and give a big deep watering because it can be too much when the roots have been so dry for so long over the winter time. And also watering too much too soon after a long dry rest period for the cacti can make them split open, as well as I've experienced, as I mentioned in the past. So I hope you found that useful, guys. And have you started watering any of your cacti yet? Let me know in the comments down below. So if you haven't done already, then please do subscribe to my channel and do click that notification bell. You can also follow me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook at Desert Plants of Avalon for lots of photographs and reels on there. And do check my website out as well, desertplantsofavalon.com. I want to wish you all a fantastic growing season, spring ahead. And until my next video, bye. And bye from my crazy cactus jungle.